Hey everyone, and welcome back to Sip and Talk. I'm Joe.
I'm Sunny.
And we're so glad you could join us for another deep dive.
Hey, you know who I was thinking about the other day? Micky.
Oh, yeah.
Our buddy Micky. That guy, I swear, he lives and breathes video games. And for what feels like, I don't know, years now, all he talks about is Grand Theft Auto the 6.
Tell me about it. It's gotten kind of legendary, hasn't it? Like this mythical beast of a game.
Frankly.
The weight itself is practically part of the game's story now. Any little leak or rumor, and the internet just goes nuts.
Seriously. It feels like they announced GTA VI back when, like, dinosaurs roamed the earth, or at least when flip phones were still a thing.
Huh? Right.
And now they've pushed it again, haven't they? To May 2026.
Yep, May 2026 is the latest word.
Man, you kind of start to wonder, okay, what's the deal here? It's just a game, isn't it?
Oh.
Well, maybe not. So today, we are doing a deep dive.
Let's do it.
We're going to figure out what makes this whole Grand Theft Auto thing tick, you know? Where did it come from? Why is it so huge? And crucially, if this thing finally lands and makes $1 gazillion like everyone expects, who stands to make some serious bank from it?
Exactly. It's a good question, and it goes way beyond just, the gamers themselves.
Mm-hmm.
We've dug into some really interesting stuff here, the whole history, the cultural side of it, and yeah, who might get a nice little financial bump if TT80i blows up?
Okay, let's get into it then. Grand Theft Auto, GTA. For anyone out there who maybe isn't Micky, or perhaps just prefers, grass under their feet instead of virtual pavement, what exactly is this thing?
Okay, putting it simply, Grand Theft Auto GTA, it's this video game series that's kind of famous for two things. Being massively successful and being pretty controversial at times.
Right.
It's developed by this company that started in the UK, DMA Design, but now they're known as Rockstar North. They're part of the big American publisher Rockstar Games.
Rockstar Games. Yeah, they definitely know how to stir things up in the gaming world, don't they?
Oh, absolutely. And GTA itself has really become like the benchmark for what people call open world games.
Open world, meaning?
Yeah. Meaning you basically get this huge digital city, or state sometimes, and you can just roam around, do whatever you want, pretty much. Yeah. But it's more than just a big map. The games are known for capturing this vibe, American city life, gangster movies, that kind of spirit of freedom. Or maybe anarchy, depending on how you play.
Right, the do whatever you want part. Micky's descriptions involve, let's just say, a significant amount of vehicular borrowing. Permanently.
That's one way to put it.
But it wasn't always this super slick 3D world, was it? Like, take us back. What was the original recipe?
Or way different. Back in 97 and 99, for GTA 1 and 2, it was all 2D. Imagine looking down from directly above, like a bird's eye view.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. The graphics were pretty rough, kind of basic by today's standards. But the gameplay, even then, was pretty out there. You could still, cause chaos, steal cars, do missions. It just looked totally different, more abstract.
Sounds ancient compared to the kind of detail we expect now. Yeah. So when did it make that jump? When did it become, GTA as most people think of it?
The big moment, the revolution, really, was 2001. Grand Theft Auto III. That switched everything to 3D.
Oh.
And it wasn't just a visual upgrade. It fundamentally changed how you played. Suddenly you're in the world, driving down the streets of Liberty City. It basically laid the groundwork for, almost every open world game that came after it.
Man, that must have just blown people's minds back then. I remember when just having 3D graphics felt like the future.
It really did.
So after GTA 3, did they just keep polishing that formula, or did it keep evolving?
Oh, it kept evolving big time. The early to mid 2000s were kind of the golden age for that. You got Vice City in 2002, hello 80s Miami vibes. That soundtrack is still iconic.
Oh yeah, Vice City.
And then 2004, San Andreas. That thing was massive. It wasn't just a city. It was basically a whole state inspired by California. And the freedom, it went through the roof. Customizing your character, learning skills, flying planes. It was huge.
San Andreas. Yeah, my friends were obsessed. You could spend hours just messing around, not even doing the missions. So that leads us into the high-def era, GTA 5e, and the monster that is GTA V.
Exactly right. 2008 brought GTA IV. That one leaned more into cinematic storytelling, more realistic physics, a bit grittier maybe. Then 2013, boom, GTA V, just a phenomenon. And a huge part of that success, which is still going strong, is GTA Online.
Right, GTA Online. It's practically its own separate universe at this point, isn't it? It just keeps getting updates.
It really is. And that brings us kind of up to date, looking towards the future. GTA 8 expected eventually in 2026 now.
Huh. Eventually. So what are people hoping for with this new one besides, it actually coming out?
Well, the trailer itself smashed YouTube records, so the hype is real. It confirmed we're going back to Vice City, which is huge for longtime fans.
And it's the 80s? Well, probably the modern-day version.
Modern-day Vice City, yeah. But beyond the setting, there's a lot of chatter about the tech, especially the AI, the non-player characters, the people walking around. The hope is they'll feel much more, alive, active.
More realistic people on the street. That could be interesting. Or slightly creepy.
Could be.
Okay, so we've got the what and the how, but the why. Why is GTA such a cultural touchstone? It's clearly more than just sales numbers.
You're totally right. It's become this generational thing in gaming. A big part of it is how each game builds these fictional American cities. Liberty City feeling like New York, Vice City is Miami, San Andreas basically being LA and California culture.
Right.
And they pack these worlds with sharp satire, hitting on politics, social issues, the dark side of things, but always with this layer of humor. It creates this feeling that's somehow both totally ridiculous and kind of real at the same time.
Yeah, it's like America seen through a funhouse mirror, but sometimes the reflection feels weirdly accurate. And you mentioned freedom before. How did it become this, ultimate symbol of freedom in gaming?
Well, think back to the early 2000s. A lot of games were still pretty linear, right? They told you where to go, what to do.
Yeah, very on rails sometimes.
Then GTA comes along and says, hey, here's a city. Go nuts. Steal any car you see, get into fights, earn money later. Yeah. You could buy businesses, invest, date people, race, fly, even just chill and watch fake TV inside the game.
Huh. Fake TV.
Yeah. And crucially, you could choose when to do the main story missions or just ignore them completely and make your own fun. Do whatever you want. Philosophy was just revolutionary back then.
The ultimate escape, I guess. But it wasn't all smooth sailing and virtual joyrides, was it? GTA's definitely courted its share of controversy.
Oh, that's putting it mildly. GTA's been a lightning rod. You had politicians, parent groups calling it a violence simulator.
I remember that.
There were serious attempts to get it banned in some places. The media sometimes tried to link it to real-world violence, like school shootings, even though, no actual proof ever materialized for those claims.
So did all that negative attention hurt the games? Did people stop buying them?
It's funny. In a lot of ways, it seemed to have the opposite effect.
Really?
Yeah, all the controversy, the headlines, the outrage. It kind of ironically boosted its popularity, especially with younger players. It got this rebellious, forbidden fruit kind of vibe. The game your parents definitely didn't want you playing.
The classic forbidden fruit effect. Makes total sense. Don't push the red button.
Exactly.
Okay, so huge, culturally, massively popular, partly because of the controversy. Let's talk hard numbers. Just how commercially successful are we talking here?
The numbers are honestly staggering. As of, basically now in 2024, Grand Theft Auto V, it sold over 190 million copies around the world.
190 million?
Million, yep. That makes it the second best-selling video game of all time. Only Minecraft has sold more.
Wow. That's more people than live in most countries.
Pretty much. And then there's GTA Online. That side of it keeps bringing in hundreds of millions of dollars every year through updates, microtransactions. It's a cash cow, especially in North America, but globally too.
Jeez. Okay. And GTA VI, the expectation is that it's going to be even bigger, right? The hype seems off the charts.
Absolutely. Like I said, the trailer broke YouTube records. Yeah. Just for a trailer. And the return to Vice City, that whole Florida vibe, it clearly struck a chord. Everyone in the industry expects it to shatter sales records when it finally launches.
Okay, massive sales. But you also mentioned technology. It wasn't just about content. GTA pushed the tech forward too.
Definitely. They've consistently been innovators. Think about the people walking around in GTA V, the NPCs, non-player characters. They have their own little conversations, routines. They feel more like individuals than just background filler.
Yeah, I've seen videos of that stuff. It's pretty impressive.
And they got really good at simulating the world itself. Realistic weather systems, basic economic stuff happening, the police reacting believably.
Yeah.
Well, mostly believably.
Well, that's...
And the storytelling in the main missions got really cinematic, lots of character drama and tension.
It sounds like they're not just building games, they're building entire simulated worlds. So if GTA V was already doing that back in 2013, what's the next leap for GTA VI tech-wise? You mentioned smarter people on the street.
Yeah, that's where a lot of the speculation is focused. There's talk rumors, mostly about using AI that's maybe closer to those advanced chatbots we see now to make interactions with random pedestrians feel way more real, less scripted.
Whoa, like having actual conversations with them.
Potentially, yeah. Or at least much more dynamic reactions. People are also hoping for better tools for players to create their own stuff, mods, stories,
The creative community aspect.
Right. We also expect the character switching mechanic from GTA V to return, telling the story through multiple main characters. And a big one. GTA VI is confirmed to have the series' first female protagonist, Lucia.
A female lead. That's actually a pretty big step for GTA.
It is, and it could bring some really fresh perspectives to the story and the gameplay.
And knowing Rockstar, they'll probably have some opinions on the current state of the world too, right? The satire.
Oh, you can bet on it.
Yeah.
Given their track record, expect that political and social satire to be sharper than ever. They'll likely tackle modern America, social divisions, crypto maybe, social media culture.
Yeah.
All with that signature dark humor.
Man, I can almost hear the talk radio stations already. Okay, this is all super interesting. GTA is clearly this massive beast, but let's shift gears a bit. Let's talk money. If GTA VI lands and is the blockbuster everyone predicts, which companies out there might actually, see a nice little stock bump? We've been looking into this.
Yes, absolutely. Our analysis suggests that a game this huge, this anticipated, could have significant ripple effects, especially for the companies providing the hardware and infrastructure. We've zeroed in on 3 companies that look particularly well-positioned.
All right, lay it on us. Who are the top 3 contenders in the GTA VI financial sweepstakes?
Okay, first up, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, TSMC, stock symbol 2330 over on the Taiwan Exchange.
TSMC, the chip guys, right? The really big ones. What's their angle with GTA?
Exactly. TSMC is basically the foundry, the factory for the really advanced chips that power, well, almost everything. Specifically here, they make the core chip for Sony's PlayStation 5. That chip's designed by AMD, but TSMC makes it. Same for Microsoft's Xbox Series X and S. AMD design, TSMC manufacturing. And crucially, they make the GPUs for NVIDIA's GeForce graphics cards, which PC gamers love.
Okay. So if GTA VI makes people rush out and buy new consoles.
Or upgrade their PCs with fancy new video cards to make the game look amazing.
Then TSMC gets a flood of orders for those high-tech chips.
Precisely. They use these really cutting-edge manufacturing processes like 4nm, 3nm. More demand for those chips directly boosts their factory usage and revenue. They're kind of central to that whole hardware supply chain.
So they're selling the picks and shovels in the gaming gold rush. Doesn't matter if Sony or Microsoft sells more consoles or NVIDIA sells more GPUs, TSMC benefits. Makes sense. How big a boost are we talking?
Well, gaming-related chips, like from AMD and NVIDIA, already make up a decent slice of TSMC's revenue, maybe, let's say, 15 to 20% ballpark. Our thinking is GTA VI could potentially add another maybe 2 to 3% to TSMC's total revenue in their fiscal year 2026.
Wow, 2-3% for a company that big is significant.
It is. And then think about the PC version, which usually comes later, maybe 2027. That could drive another wave of demand, especially for NVIDIA's next-gen cards, the RTX 50 series, perhaps.
Gotcha. Any potential downsides for TSMC in this?
Well, the main thing is always competition. There are other companies trying to catch up in the advanced chip-making game.
Right, always competition. Okay, who's number 2 on our list of potential winners?
Company number 2, Amazon. AMZN.
Amazon. Okay, I get people will buy the game disc or maybe a digital code on Amazon, but is that really enough to move the needle for a giant like them?
It's actually quite a few different angles for Amazon. Yes, they're a massive retailer. They sell tons of PS5s, Xboxes, and they'll undoubtedly sell a mountain of GTA VI copies, both physical and digital. So that's a direct boost to their e-commerce revenue.
Okay, that makes sense.
But then there's Amazon Web Services, AWS, their cloud computing arm. It's very likely that AWS servers will be powering parts of GTA Online. If millions of players jump into the online world, that means huge server demand, which translates directly to more AWS revenue.
The cloud connection. I didn't think of that.
And it's even indirect, too. More demand for NVIDIA chips. Well, Amazon buys a lot of those chips for their own AWS data centers. Plus, don't forget Twitch.
Oh, yeah, Amazon owns Twitch.
Right. When GTA VI drops, Twitch is going to be flooded with people streaming it, watching it. That means more eyeballs, more ads, more subscriptions for Twitch.
Okay, wow. So Amazon's got its fingers in a lot of GTA-related pies, selling the games, selling the hardware, potentially running the online servers, and profiting from people watching streams of it.
Exactly. It's a diversified play on the whole phenomenon.
So what's the potential impact for Amazon, financially speaking?
We're thinking the game and hardware sales could easily add hundreds of millions in extra revenue. And for AWS, maybe a bump of, say, 0.5% to 1% in revenue just from the GTA Online server load alone.
Even for Amazon, that's not insignificant. What's the risk for them?
Main risk there is competition in the cloud space. Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud.
Yeah.
They're all fighting for that business.
Got it. Okay, who's the third horse in this race? Who rounds out our top 3?
Number 3 is Advanced Micro Devices. AMD.
AMD. Okay, the other big chip designer, we mentioned them with TSMC. How do they benefit directly?
Right. So AMD designs the main custom chips, the brains, for both the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X and S. It's their tech inside.
Both consoles. Okay.
Yep. So if GTA VI drives a surge in console sales, PS5 or Xbox, AMD gets more chip orders. Simple as that. But there's also the PC side.
Right. PC gamers upgrading.
Exactly. If PC players want the best GTA VI experience, they might upgrade their graphics card or their main processor, their CPU. And AMD makes both Radeon GPUs and Ryzen CPUs, so they could see a nice lift in their PC component sales too.
So they get a piece of the action from both console gamers and PC gamers upgrading for the new game.
Potentially, yes. And their growth, of course, feeds back into the whole semiconductor ecosystem we talked about with TSMC.
Okay, so what kind of boost could AMD see?
Our analysis suggests GTA VI might increase revenue for AMD's gaming division, specifically by somewhere in the range of 5 to 10% for their fiscal 2026. And again, that PC version later on could give their Radeon graphics cards another push.
Not too shabby at all. What's the main caveat or risk mentioned for AMD?
The analysis did note that, at least currently, AMD's position in the very highest-end graphics card market isn't quite as strong as NVIDIA's. They compete hard, but NVIDIA often holds the performance crown at the very top.
Okay, so TSMC, Amazon, AMD, those are the big 3 potential beneficiaries. Were there any others mentioned, maybe smaller impacts?
Yeah, a couple of others came up. Obviously, Take-Two Interactive, TTWO, the publisher and parent company of Rockstar Games.
Yeah.
They're the ones actually making and selling GTA sites, so they'll see the most direct revenue by far.
Yeah.
But our focus here was more on the spillover effects, the tech and infrastructure side. Microsoft was also mentioned, but since they make the Xbox, their benefit is kind of baked into the console sales uplifts we already discussed with AMD and TSMC. And Samsung Electronics might see a little benefit from demand for specialized memory, HBM, used in high-end NVIDIA cards. But the impact on a company as huge and diversified as Samsung would likely be pretty small.
Got it. So the core group to watch seems to be TSMC, Amazon, and AMD, each benefiting in slightly different ways from the potential GTA VI tidal wave. But like any potential investment, it's not guaranteed, right? What are the big risks people need to keep in mind here?
Absolutely. Always risks. The number one risk right now.
Yeah.
Delays. The game's already been pushed to May 2026. If it slips again, all those potential revenue bumps for these companies get pushed back too.
Yeah, that seems like a real possibility given the history.
Then there's just plain old market competition. Other games could come out and steal some thunder, or hardware competitors could gain ground. And finally, what if GTA Z isn't the mega hit everyone assumes? Maybe it underwhelms. That would definitely dampen demand for new consoles and GPUs.
All very good points. It's not a sure thing. So for listeners who are intrigued by this but maybe don't want to bet on just one horse, are there ways to get exposure to several of these companies at once? Through ETFs, maybe. We looked at some options there, too.
Yes, exactly. For people who prefer a more diversified approach, there are exchange-traded funds, ETFs, that bundle stocks together. We found 3 specific ETFs that have a pretty high combined weighting in those 4 key companies we've discussed. TSMC, Amazon, AMD, and NVIDIA, mostly focused on tech and semiconductors.
Okay, cool. So if you want a basket of these potential GTA VI winners, what are the main ETF options?
Right. The first one we highlighted is the SP Funds S&P Global Technology ETF. The ticker is SPTE. Now, this one has the highest total percentage invested across those 4 companies, about 34% altogether. It holds a lot of TSMC, a good amount of Amazon and NVIDIA, and a smaller slice of AMD.
34% combined. That's pretty focused.
It is. It tracks a global tech index, so it captures the hardware side with TSMC and AMD, the cloud and e-commerce with Amazon, and the GPU power with NVIDIA. It's pretty well aligned with the whole GTA VA tech chain.
Sounds good on paper. What are the potential drawbacks of this STTE fund?
Well, the main thing is it's a smaller fund in terms of total assets under management, or AUM. That can sometimes mean it's a bit harder to trade in large quantities, or the price might jump around more. It also has a slightly higher expense ratio, the annual fee compared to the others, around 0.55%, though it does have a decent buy rating from Zacks Investment Research.
Okay, so highest exposure, but maybe less liquid and costs a bit more. Got it.
Yeah.
What's ETF number 2?
Second one is a big name, the Technology Select Sector SPDR Fund, ticker .XLK. This one holds about 27.7% combined in those 4 stocks. Its biggest holding by far in that group is NVIDIA, followed by Amazon. It has much smaller positions in TSMC and AMD. It basically tracks the big tech giants within the S&P 500 index.
XLK, yeah, I've heard of that one. What are the pros and cons there?
Big pros, very low expense ratio, just 0.09%. And it's huge, massive AUM, like $65 billion. That means it's super easy to buy and sell, very liquid, which is great for long-term holding. It's got that heavy NVIDIA weight, which could be good if you're bullish on them specifically.
Right.
The main con, less exposure to TSMC and AMD, so you don't capture that semiconductor foundry benefit as strongly. It's performed very well recently, though.
Okay. Low cost, easy to trade, heavy on NVIDIA. Makes sense. And the third ETF option?
Third one is another giant, the Vanguard Information Technology ETF, ticker VGT. This one is very similar to XLK in its total weighting, around 26.9% in those 4 companies. Again, big positions in NVIDIA and Amazon, small amounts of TSMC and AMD. It tracks a slightly broader index of U.S. tech stocks, over 300 of them.
VGT. Okay, pros and cons for that one.
Strengths are similar to XLK. Strong weight in NVIDIA and Amazon, incredibly large AUM, even bigger than XLK actually, over $700 billion, and a rock-bottom expense ratio of 0.10%. So great for large, stable, low-cost investing. The con is also similar. Less direct exposure to the chip makers TSMC and AMD compared to SPTE. It's also had really strong performance.
Okay, so it sounds like SPTE gives you the most concentrated bet on that specific group of 4 companies benefiting from GTAVs across the board, but with trade-offs on cost and liquidity. XLK and VGT are much bigger, cheaper, easier to trade, heavy on NVIDIA and Amazon, but give you less at the TSMC-AMD angle.
That's a perfect summary. SPTE offers the strongest link to the entire potential GTAVI industrial chain hardware, cloud, e-commerce. XLK and VGT are maybe better choices if you prioritize low costs, easy trading, and stability, or if you're particularly bullish on NVIDIA. XLK is the highest NVIDIA concentration, while VGT is a bit more diversified within tech overall.
And just to reiterate, what are the specific risks if someone buys these ETFs thinking about the GTAVI effect?
Right. Beyond general market ups and downs, for SPTE, the risk is that smaller size might mean more volatility. For XLK and VGT, the risk is you might miss out on some upside if the semiconductor supply chain part, TSMC and AMD, really takes off more than expected because their weights are lower there. And for all of them, the big risk remains. If GTAVI gets delayed again, or if it disappoints, or if tech stocks just generally take a hit, these ETFs could definitely go down.
Makes sense. It's never just about one factor.
Exactly. And that point about AUM assets under management is key. Those huge funds like XLK and VGT offer stability and low trading costs because so many people are invested in them. SPTE, being smaller, might appeal more to investors okay with a bit more potential swing in the price.
Okay, wow. We have really gone deep today, from Mickey's obsession to 2D graphics to global supply chains and ETFs. To kind of wrap this all up, what are the main things you want people to take away from this whole GTA discussion?
I think the biggest thing is just appreciating that Grand Theft Auto isn't just a video game series. It's this massive cultural phenomenon, right? It reflects parts of society, it pushes technological boundaries, and its success has real economic consequences. The anticipation for GTA Z is a testament to that, and yeah, if it delivers, it could provide a tangible boost to some key players in the tech world.
It really is wild how something created in a digital space can ripple out and affect huge real-world companies in the stock market like that. So as we all collectively hold our breath for GTA 6, or maybe just Mickey holds his breath, what's a final thought to leave our listeners chewing on?
Maybe just consider how deeply intertwined gaming, technology, and the financial markets are becoming. The fact that the delay of a single game can generate this much discussion about semiconductor supply chains and cloud infrastructure, it really highlights how central this industry is now and how it drives innovation and economic activity in ways we might not always expect.
Definitely food for thought. Thanks so much for breaking all that down. That was fascinating. And hey, to everyone listening, if you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of GTA and its potential financial ripples, you know what to do. Hit subscribe on our podcast, Sip and Talk, so you don't miss our next chat.
Please do.
And speaking of games and long waits, you should also check out our buddy Mickey's YouTube channel. You know, the guy basically fueling this entire conversation. I won't try to describe exactly what he does over there, but if you're into gaming, delays, and maybe some passionate rants, you'll probably dig it. We'll put a link somewhere, maybe. Go find Mickey.
All right, everyone, thanks for tuning in. Until next time, stay curious.
We need to be crystal clear, as always. Neither of us are professional investment advisors.
Nope, not licensed, not qualified.
We're here to discuss publicly available information, talk through these reports and opinions, and try to make sense of it all.
That's right. The information we've discussed today is strictly for informational purposes only. It should definitely not be considered investment advice.
Please don't take it as advice. It's always essential to do your own thorough research and ideally consult with a qualified financial advisor who knows your specific situation before making any investment decisions.
Couldn't agree more. Get personalized advice.